Good day, podcast community. Pete Kane here, podcast Pete, and certified lifestyle coach. When you think about lifestyle, you think about freedom. And when you think about freedom, you have to make good decisions on your time. You have 24 hours, so do I. High achievers make the most of their 24 hours. They don't react to things. They don't check their voicemail first or their email first thing in the morning. They don't scroll social media 2.5 hours a day or watch TV 4 hours a day. Because if you add those two numbers together, that's 6.5 hours out of your 24 that you're consuming other people's lives. Create your life. I'm going to give you a system that's worked for me. Hopefully, it'll work for you. Okay. When I look at time freedom, I block. You can't see this, so I put it in a infograph. I work on 3 things. And in my case, this year, I'll be working on generating leads, which is demand for the business, creating cash flow, and building thriving communities, school communities, SKOOL. Because inside of our school community, I can connect you. I can introduce you to people you need to know. And together, we're better. But that's my focus for the whole year. These 3 things, not 10, not 20, 3. That's why focus is so critical. The clarity you get on your future and your future self will determine the excitement, the freedom of time, health, wealth, creative, location, and travel. All those freedoms are possible. It's a journey. And that journey starts with you, personal growth. I start every day with Growth Day. Every day I have Brenda Bouchard coaching me. Every day he has to provoke thinking, critical thinking, which is so important in a day of AI. Because if you just depend on AI, your brain's going to turn to mush. It's going to be like TikTok brains, the ones that scroll endless video content and consume without any clarity, any idea where you go, and they just get entertained. And your brain gets entertained too, not in a good way. It's okay to do things, a few things like that, but 6.5 hours of consumption, that won't get you anywhere besides being a person that consumes stuff. You want to be the creator of your life. 3 things. I do 3 blocks of 5-hour days. I mean, yes, 3 days in one, 5-hour blocks. I spend 20%, sometimes more, on focused learning so I can learn the things that I need for the future self that I have for myself. That's why having a vision of yourself, being clear, waking up and knowing what you want to do. I get up every morning very early. I drink water, just like this. I think. Then I read. I journal. And then after journaling, I plan and I implement. So I have a regular schedule. And part of my plan is investing time in myself to get better. That's why Growth Day is the rocket fuel to the rocket. Without your personal growth, your business doesn't grow. Without a plan, and that's why I'm going to show you how having that clarity, three things, that's all I'm working on this year. Three things. Everything is generating demand, which is leads, creating cash flow, and building thriving communities for myself and my clients. Okay, now let's go to, let me share my screen here. Remove this. Okay, hold on here. I know I got it here. Okay, here we go. Okay, all right, let me go over here. All right, from grind, which that's what I was in 4 years ago when I had my stroke, I was in the grind. Then when I had my stroke, the business just vanished because I had four part-timers and almost one full-timer. And everything was about, I was stuck. I couldn't leave the business. I didn't know how. I didn't have systems. I didn't have processes. And without that, when I was out for 49 days, the business just tanked. That's not what you want. You want systems and processes. You want a clear picture of your life. You want to know where you're going, because the grind will not get you anywhere. We talk about clarity, energy, courage, productivity, and influence. But let's talk about clarity, energy, productivity, and freedom. Okay. All right. Are you clear about your future? In a world of endless opportunity, one question matters most. Are you clear about your future? The path to freedom and impact isn't about having more options. It's about the right map. You first have to have an assessment. You got to know where you are in clarity, energy, courage, productivity, and influence. That's why we do an assessment and we rate ourselves between 1 and 10. We got to know where we are. We have to have a true self-assessment. Our first coaching session of vocal points, this is what we determine. Where are you? Where are you in the 5 key areas? Because if you don't know where you are, you certainly can't decide where you want to go. So you have to do that assessment. When I was 4 years ago, I was on the supply side. I thought I had to have everything on the supply end, like make sure that the website is good, working on the paperwork, all the stuff that you work on that doesn't generate revenue. And I'm hustling 20 things to do a day. And every day I couldn't get it all done. Then the stroke came, slowed me down for 49 days. 49 days I had a chance to think. And what happened was mortality motivation. It was almost over. It was almost finished. My time here on earth was almost over. Had I lived? Did it matter? Did I make an impact? Those are the kind of questions I was asking myself. And I realized I had a second chance. When Anya said to me, "Do you know the kind of stroke you had?" And I said, "No, tell me. Can I share something with you?" I said, "Sure." Most people that have your type of stroke don't make it. And if they do, they're worse off than you are. And here I am with half a body. And I'm thinking, worse than that? She said, a little angel was looking after you. And I took that to heart. And I knew that was the case. And I said, I'm going to live it differently. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to have the freedom to work with who I want, do what I want. That's when I started podcasting. That's when I became a certified high performance coach. That's when I can work from anywhere. That's where I can get up excited about the future each day, working 3 5-hour days, doing what I love, working on the demand side of the business. That's the healthy side. High demand, low supply, healthy business. High supply, low demand, you're out of business, or you have a hobby. So you have to get that right. You got to flip it. High demand. You got to have your leads. Leads or cash flow. Cash flow is a thriving community. The three pillars of business, just what I said. Generate leads, that's your lifeblood. Create cash flow, that's your monetization, because that's the blood. That's what gets everything going. If you don't have cash flow, you're in trouble. And then do it in a community, because together we're better. We do it in school communities. That's why if you go to the QR code above my head, you can join for free. You can be around like-minded people. You could be on there, and then when you want to invest in yourself, you have an option. We do 30-day sprints where we work on a plan for you. Clarity, energy, courage, productivity, and influence. That gives you the freedom to enjoy the lifestyle that we dream about, but we don't know how to get there. The barrier, or why we get stuck. The major stressors and challenges are you struggling with right now. The inbox dependency. Constantly checking the inbox. Reacting to other people's priorities. Always having thousands of emails to check. And you're just chasing your tail. Other people's agenda. That's why you have to have a strategy to create your life. Focus. Lack of focus, you have distractions and noise, unclear goals, and procrastination. The more clear you get, the better your energy is, and the clearer you are on your future, your best future. This is just a mock-up, but it's similar to this. But basically, I have 3 big rocks for the week. Now, I'll take 5 things to move those 3 rocks during the week. But I have people I want to reach out to, maybe people I'm waiting on a call, and I prioritize what am I going to get done this week? What are my Friday finishers? Like, what do I have to do by Friday? So I'm making decisions based on 1 page. Who am I going to talk to? What am I going to accomplish by Friday? What are my 3 priorities for the week? What 5 things in each of those priorities are moving it forward? What kind of things do I need to do to move intentionally forward? Time blocking concept, 3 5-hour days. I spend 20% of my time learning, focused learning, not just learning all kinds of general information. I have a rifle effect. I work on the Daniel Priestley Key Person of Influence, the 7-11-4. I work on Brendan Bouchard's Clarity, Energy, Courage, Productivity, and Influence. I work on myself every single day. And I monitor. I have a planner here that's a big planner. It's my desk planner. I have one for smaller strategy, just writing. And I also have my one inside of Growth Day, that if I'm away from my desk and I don't have a planner, I can have one right on my phone. So I use all of them in different ways, but all of them because I'm clear about the future. And if you're not clear about your future, any distraction will get you off course. There's so much distraction out there. If you don't have a plan for your life, if you're not creating your life, somebody has a plan for you, and it ain't about you, it's about them. So implementing block time, the framework, identifying the dream. What are you working on? Identifying the why. Why are you committed to this? What really gets you excited? And then setting the priorities. when you set priorities, big rocks, and you're moving those big rocks before you move the sand and the pebbles, you get momentum, you get flow. And when you get those, you're moving, and you're moving at a pace to create your dream life. Time freedom, health freedom, wealth freedom, location, travel, and creative freedom. Those are the 6 freedoms we work on with our clients and with our community. And everything happens with a mental shower each day. The 5 to Thrive. It's a mental shower. How many times we'll take a shower, we'll get clean, but are we taking a mental shower? How are you working on yourself? How are you sharpening your saw? We all know the old analogy of the dull saw, somebody trying to cut down a tree with a dull saw, and then somebody gets in there with a chainsaw and zips through it. That's when you work on yourself. You get sharper and you get better and then quicker. So work on yourself. Your business won't grow beyond your growth. I schedule everything on my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't happen. And you have an idea with the priorities that are on your calendar. There's plenty of times I'll miss stuff, and for some reason it didn't get on my calendar. I make decisions based on the calendar. 3 5-hour days. 3 5-hour days. Blocks of focused time. I used to be a good multitasker, and the brain doesn't respond well to going back and forth. It takes something like 15 to 20 minutes to reset your brain when you're switching around. We think, oh, we're doing 3 things at once. No, you're not, because the brain has to have that focus. And without that, you're going to get fatigued, mentally fatigued, and you're not going to get what's done. Later in the afternoon, I'll do this podcast, and it is later than normal, but I will make phone calls. That energizes me when I can talk to people. And so I generate energy throughout the day based on how my day gets created. And it starts with drink, think, read, journal, plan, and implement. Let me have a little drink here. I always like, and I like closing open loops. And that, we're just, our brain is set up that way. So when you think about list the people you must reach out today, no matter what, and then list the people you're waiting on to move forward. That way you kind of get your system down, your process down. Define your dream life. What would your dream life look like if you could wave a wand and make it happen? True wealth is discretionary time to do what you want to do. Because I have things scheduled, but if my grandkids need to be picked up at school, I know the time that would happen, and I can very easily go respond if needed, because I've set up my schedule with the flexibility to do what brings joy to my heart. Hanging out with grandkids brings joy to your heart. Hanging out with your family brings joy. So you got to allow these things to happen. If you're so busy on the hamster wheel of busyness, we call it being on the busy bus. When you're on the busy bus, lots of distractions, lots of stops, going all over the place, taking a lot longer than getting on the purpose plane. Purpose plane, one destination, quiet, fast. Which form of transportation do you want? All right. Confronting the obstacle. What else has prevented you from having that dream life? What else has prevented you from having that dream life? Not a good plan, not a good schedule, not knowing your priorities, not knowing what you want to do with your life. That's what a clarity session will do. Because if you're not clear, anybody's priorities, anybody's schedule will get you off. If you don't have a system, somebody else has one for you. If you don't have a dream, somebody else has one for you. So what is your dream? What goals or dreams have you ever given up or failed at? Be honest, reflect, because sometimes you got to pivot. If you're so determined that I got to do this and it's not working, maybe you need to pivot. Maybe you need to get a clarity session with us. Maybe you need to be involved in our community, around people that are going places. Maybe you need to be working on your freedoms, time freedom. Time freedom. We only have 24 hours. And I live every single day like it's my last. Because one day I'm going to be right. But until that day comes, I'm going to live it with intention, with urgency, with impact, with joy. And that can happen with you. Man, hold on here. 12-month horizon, 3 big changes you would like to make in your life in the next 12 months. 3, generate leads, demand, cash flow for your business, and building a thriving community. Could that be your 3? But stay with a focused 3 priorities. When you're on the hamster wheel, which I was on, I got 10, 15 things. Didn't know, making bad decisions about what my next move was. Now I am very clear. I've been coached for an entire year. That helped me transform into a different person. Okay. High performance coaching, heightened clarity, expanded influence, intentional productivity, bold, courageous, and sustained energy. The gap, the bridge, to bridge the gap between where you are and the lifestyle asset you join. So let me see, hold on here. Let me go back over here. I'm going to make this smaller. Okay. And make this, let me see if this is, let me check something. Hold on here. Yes, that's to join our school community. You get $400 worth of value. My high performance habits mastery course, 12 modules, and my journaling for personal freedom course. That's yours, my gift to you. Then book a clarity session. I just put that up. And if you can go to, hold on here. There we go. pkane.me/clarity. Book a clarity session. Let me put this back up. This is my 3 priorities. Generate demand, create cash flow, and build school communities, thriving communities. Schedule your clarity session today. I'll help you to get clear on your future. Then when you're ready to invest in yourself, there is an option to do that. But until then, join at pkane.me/school. Join our community. Be around people that are working on their freedoms. Be around the right people. Be around a community of thriving people that want freedom for themselves and their family. I'm Pete Kane, 4 years removed from my stroke, having a blast, and I want to help you work towards your freedom. So what do you need to do to get your time freedom in the right place so you can activate your future, a bright future and an abundant future? I'm Pete Kane.